Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be doing this live. So guys, I've been watching the FOMC press conference a little bit, and overall, we got the news today that it is going to be a 0.25% increase in rates. Now, these were already priced in. I think the last one was March 16th that we seen. Honestly, when we talk about a lot of things happening around this market, specifically in regards to, the Fed increasing rates and things like that, a lot of people will ensue panic and, talk about this, talk about that, kind of make their own impulsive moves throughout this market. Let me refresh, make sure everything is up to date. So here you guys have it. So Bitcoin is up almost 5%, Ethereum up almost 5.35% exact. We do see some altcoins pumping out a little bit on the 24-hour span. Zilliqa up about 21%. Told you guys to watch for Zilliqa on that retest. Major retest, we got it 20+% in terms of a run on that one. Excuse me. A few other altcoins like even ADA are up 11%. A few of my altcoin holdings that I've been telling you guys about are pretty good. I would say, like, in terms of spell and stuff, we've been seeing a major impulsive move throughout the entire altcoin market. So very excited to see this. Very happy to see it because, I was taking positions all, this week and even over the weekend, which I always tell you guys to avoid doing. But I figured I would go and do it over the weekend because there was just way too many good buy points for me to ignore. But ultimately, we've seen better buys throughout this week, and it was a perfect time to load up as the fear was absolutely insane. We're still seeing him talk, basically talking about inflation, seeing how they could get it in check. Honestly, when we talk about this, I just don't see inflation getting back into check. I think that is far too gone. We'll most likely see a recession in 2023 into 2024, somewhere within that time, basis. Might even see it before 2023 by the end of this year. But I foresee us having a major bull run. I've talked about it. I don't believe that. When we talk about Altseason, I don't think that we are nearly done. I've addressed this multiple times, so let's talk about a few things. So let me pause this press conference. We'll come back to it here in a little bit. First off, I do want to talk to you guys about a few things that have happened since, of course, the announcement that we're only going up by 0.25 BPS. So first off, indices. So let me refresh this, make sure everything is up to date. So you guys do see the Dow Jones pumping 640 points. The NASDAQ is up 236, almost 237 points. And of course, the S&P 500 is up almost 77 points exact. These are still in a sell technical rating, which is funny to me, but hey, it is what it is. I would be buying right now, if we did see, some stable prices, but hey, that's me. I wouldn't be buying anything right now as everything is up like 10+%. I think that the time to buy was when everyone was fearful. Now everyone is kind of getting bullish. They're, saying, hey, everything's back on. But honestly, yeah, when we talk about Bitcoin, right? So I've been saying for the longest time that we really need Bitcoin back above these EMAs. We are starting to break up above them. First off, the 10-day EMA was at roughly 39K. We broke right out of that. The next one, the 20-day, was 39.6K. We are nearly above that in a strong point. I'm waiting for us to actually break above the 200-day EMA at roughly about 43.6K. That's going to give us a lot of strength throughout the entire market, but ultimately I've been saying that our bottom is well above the 37K level. And you know what's funny? Everyone was constantly laughing at me. I kept saying, we'll most likely see 50K on Bitcoin before we do see below 37K. I actually don't believe that we will see below 37K. If we were going to see that, today would have been that day. Which, again, I would have welcomed in some lower price action throughout the overall market. I think that we should have had one more shakeout. But hey, it is what it is. When we talk about the dollar, I think that the dollar is really printing us that overall pattern that we're waiting to see on the dollar. This is the one that I've been addressing for a very long time, and I know that you guys are probably all tired of hearing about the dollar. But as you guys do see, if we do not bounce off of that 10-day EMA at roughly about 102.5, we will be retesting 101 all the way down to possibly 96.5. I'm watching to see if this goes into that multi-year bear market, similar to what we did see back in 2020 all the way to 2021. I've been addressing this time period for a while. And of course, you even do see 2017 and 2018. Last night, I reported on, in my XRP video, I told you guys about how these interest rates are actually very bullish sometimes. For an example, the 2017-2018 bull run really happened from rate hike increases. So when we talk about things happening from, these, time zones and also these factors that are factoring into the market already, like, I've always said, like, we go back to March 17th, right? So it was like March 16th, March 17th, somewhere around that time frame. So let me go back here. So here we have March 17th, 16th, right around this time. We've seen a little bit of a sell-off happen in the dollar. This was the last time that we've seen rate hike increases of, again, 0.25 base points. Now, when we talk about that, that is just 0.25%. We just seen that same exact confirmation right now. Are we going to see a short sell-off before we have that nice back impulsive move to like 106 on the dollar? It is 100% possible, especially if we don't break support. So I'm not going to get too bullish here. But I believe that these 0.25% base points are already, factored into the market. I think that they're already priced in. And I've said this multiple times. Everyone will always make an excuse for why we are pumping. Specifically, a lot of people would say, hey, I'm looking at this, it's going to cause a massive move throughout the market. The reason why we're pumping is because of the 0.25, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I am not paying attention to that at all. When we talk about things happening with the Fed, specifically around, like, here, let me refresh this real quick. I'm sure that he's probably still talking about inflation. We're still constantly hearing about inflation. So let me listen in real quick. Let me see what's happening here.
Any problem?
No, I don't. And a good example of why would be that, so in the fourth quarter of last year, as we started talking about tapering sooner and then raising rates this year, you saw financial markets reacting, very appropriately. Not to bless any particular day's measure, but the way financial markets, the forward rate curve has tightened in response to our guidance and our actions really amplifies our policy. I mean, it's monetary policy is working through expectations now to a very large extent. We've only done 2 rate increases, but if you look at financial conditions, the 2-year is at 280 now. In September, I think it was at 20 basis points, and that's all through the economy. People are feeling those higher rates already.
So you obviously hear him still talking about inflation, right? So what I'm going to be talking about in regards to the Fed. So this is what I really want to address within this meeting. So obviously we're seeing a major, pump from this. I want you guys to understand that this pump will most likely lead to an inversion. We usually always see inversion moves from these, sort of meetings. Like I've said, these are already priced into the market. So this will most likely lead to either one, a breakdown, again, to retest possibly like 38K, 37K, around that range. If we do see that, yes, we will see some altcoin holdings having a very cheap price. Now, he's talking about more rate hike increases. They have already been priced into the market. And of course, financial markets 100% will react to some of this. Like, for an example, like the 0.25% increase. Markets will react to that, but again, it's already priced in. I will say this, though. He did say something pretty interesting about a recession, possibly, which he essentially said that he wouldn't mind a recession if it means that it will combat basically inflation, which, in my opinion, that is a pretty, I would say that that's a pretty hefty response to it. But I wouldn't get too caught up in a lot of this, talk around like, hey, we're going to go on a multi-year bull run because of course, these like rate hike increases, which I've seen like a few live streams around that. Like, people were saying like commence the altcoin pump because of the FOMC, meeting. I'm not looking forward to seeing that. What I'm actually seeing here, what I want to see is the dollar, right? So I've been watching the dollar and I've been seeing to see if this pattern is going to repeat similar to what we did see back here in 2020. If we do see that, then this will lead us to the alt run. But as I'm watching this, right, I'm also watching the US 10-year. So in terms of yields, like once this does inverse, like I know that this looks pretty bearish right now, but it's just retesting support. We've seen this before. Once this reverses the 10-year, that's time to worry. And I've been also watching this closely, and I've been addressing it to you all about, Bitcoin and crypto, while everyone is being fairly fearful around crypto, saying that we're going to go into a multi-year bear market. I've been saying, just pay attention to the 10-year, because the 10-year has been a perfect indicator on if we are going to continue to pump or if we're going to just kind of do a 180 and fall. And the best way that I could describe it is we go back to March of 2020, because this is the best time to actually really address this and look at it. So we had this massive cascading, move. Now this originally started back in, December. It really kind of slowed, went sideways, started to downtrend. Now this was, of course, before the massive crash throughout the entire market. It was kind of a warning sign ahead of time. Now once this did start to bottom out, and it had that nice impulsive move, here's where like crypto started to kind of reverse and have that nice overall pump back up into a nice sort of support zone. Now, as you guys do see, this came back down, but it traded sideways and gained strength throughout the entire year of 2020 into even 2021, until ultimately slowing down in the March timeframe, which led us to that summer crashing point throughout crypto. This tells us a huge, sort of factor around crypto and stocks, aka confidence growing around crypto and stocks. I do believe that the overall confidence is there around crypto. I think people are ultimately believing in crypto having a good year this, year. But there is also a large amount of individuals that are still very, uncertain around where they want to put their dollars. They don't want to, invest into crypto right now. Maybe they are, worried about regulations. Maybe they're worried about this. Maybe they're worried about that. But ultimately, when we look at things happening around, stocks and even crypto, I would say that this year ahead is going to look pretty good. And when we talk about inflation, when we talk about these rate hike increases, I think that this is only, just to kind of save face for the most part. I think that when we talk about what Jerome Powell has been saying lately, I don't want to say that he doesn't know what he's talking about. I just think that they're trying to kind of hide a little bit on what's actually there. Meaning, inflation rates are most likely much, much higher than what they are actually letting on. I've also said this multiple times that when we talk about inflation rates, they're probably in the double-digit figures. I've said this multiple times, and when we talk about things happening around the, financial markets, I would expect by the end of this year to either have a major bull run leading to a meltdown, or if we don't see a major bull run this year, then I would be pretty concerned, because when we see a lot of things kind of playing into that aspect, it makes no sense to not have that repeated bull run from like 2017, 2018 into the fall timeframe. And I've said this multiple times in terms of pattern basis, but also just over technical analysis itself. I think that what we see right now from the Fed is just, let's save face, let's save as much possible face as we possibly can. Let's keep the markets continuing to grow, because ultimately their job is to kind of make it seem like everything is okay. Let's make sure everything is safe. Let's make sure everything is still moving. Similar to like the 2008 crisis, right? We've seen a lot of talks around the 2008 crisis where things were still good, the economy's strong, which again, I heard in this meeting today where, hey, the economy's extremely strong, it's doing this, it's doing that. And then we hear, questions from the audience saying, okay, but what about buying power? Like when you go to the grocery store and your $20 no longer gets you, a filled, shopping cart. It gets you like maybe one or two things. And of course, the response is, yeah, I mean, inflation hurts everyone, right? And it's funny because they have no direct answer to how they are going to combat inflation rates besides a recession, which tells me that by the end of this year into possibly 2024, we will most likely see a recession that a lot of people are still trying to say will not come. But as we look at the housing market, in my opinion, is 100% in a bubble. And when we talk about like, for an example, like rent and gas, it's up 50% as inflation is at like 8.5%. So how does that make sense at all economically, right? But ultimately, when we look at things happening around crypto, I definitely do think that the dollar is most likely the most important chart right now. I have been watching this very, very closely. Will this, have this massive crashing point? It's hard to say right now. I mean, it looks bearish. A lot of people will say, all right, the downfall of the dollar has started. Everyone prepare. But ultimately, this could still have a bounce back because it is still ranging on support. As we do look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is still around, a resistance zone. We've had wicks above these, overall EMAs before, going back as far as like even, April 21st, right? But mind you, I share with you guys the 17th time frame. Now, this is when we did see, of course, the last FOMC press release where we did see, a 0.25% increase in rates. This started to have a nice little pump, but ultimately we came down, tested some lows, and then we had that nice increase all the way to 48K. On the short term, yeah, we'll most likely see a little bit of a sell-off happen. We'll see some profit take maybe to buy the dip if they do expect the dip to come back down. If anything, we'll most likely even test the 236 at about 38.2K, almost 38.3K. If that is the case, we'll see some nice buy points throughout the altcoin market as Bitcoin dominance is still kind of increasing. But I do expect us to have a nice pump out of these resistance zones. More so, I'm focused on 44K. I want to see us break above 44K, which is, of course, the next, fib level at 44.1K exact. I'm watching that level closely on Bitcoin because if we do break out of that, we'll go on to test 48K, which is a significant resistance zone and has been a resistance zone now for some time. So I'm just awaiting that next major impulsive move on Bitcoin. When we talk about things happening around even, the altcoin market, altcoins do look good. In fact, the total 2 looks very good, and I have been watching the total 2 closely, even on the weekly and the daily chart. Right now, we are hitting resistance at that 20-day EMA. So when we look at things right now, would I be buying altcoins currently? Absolutely not. I would not be putting money right now into altcoins because a lot of them are already pumped up a little bit. Like even if we look at Spell. So I told you guys that I bought Spell at about 0.003. That's my average price. Now, you guys do see I bought here because that was major support going back as far as like September and October. I felt confident buying there. Now we are up significantly from that buy point. Now, would I be buying right now? No, I'm not going to be putting any more money in because, first off, when we look at this, I'm already up almost 17% on this investment. And then, like, even Algo, right? Yes, the other day, I made a video talking about Algo and Spell specifically. And I told you guys about Algo at around, like, roughly 60 cents. It was, like, it wasn't at, like, a perfect buy point. Like, I could have bought down here. That would have been, like, the best point. I think it was at, like, 58 cents or so. We'll just, like, round it up to, like, about 59.6. So this is also up about 17%. When something pumps like this, I do not tell you guys to buy. I would never buy an altcoin when it's up double-digit figures. Same with like even Zilliqa. Everyone was wanting to buy Zilliqa after it started to pump out of its sideways momentum that lasted, years. It was like a 2-year sideways momentum. Everyone wanted to buy there. I told you guys, never buy an altcoin that is pumping. Do not FOMO in. Even on XRP, we are still up about 9.55% from these lows. If you go to the bottom figure candles, it's like a 12%, almost 13% pump. A lot of these altcoins are doing pretty good. HBAR has been one that a lot of people have been really kind of watching for. We're close to breaking out of that 236. I wanted us to be back above 15 cents to have that nice momentum shift in the market. I think that right now a lot of confidence around a lot of altcoins and even crypto itself has been lost a little bit. I don't think that people are really kind of paying attention to crypto too much. I've been noticing a downward spiral in terms of confidence around a lot of these investments just because, they are risky investments when we are talking about like an economic downshift. But to me personally, when I'm watching, things happening around the financial markets, I think that crypto is probably one of the most safest bets when we are talking about the pattern that is being printed on the charts, but also things that are leading up to that bull run. And everyone continuously says, all right, bull run, bull run, bull run. It's never going to happen. It's all hopium. We are in a bear market. But that's exactly what I want to hear. I don't want people to have confidence around crypto when we are basically gearing up for a bull run, because you need people to miss out. You need people to basically FOMO in. And I'm not saying this to be, that person that's like, hey, I want to make money off of people's, overall bad decisions, if you will. No, But we seen this back in 2017, 2018 as well, where everyone was just too fearful to put their money in. They didn't think that we were going to have a bull run. They thought that the crypto bubble popped. And ultimately, it did a full 180 from the bottoms, and everyone started to FOMO in. The same thing will most likely happen again. In my opinion, when we look at the charts, there is nothing to tell us that we are in a bear market. There's nothing that is telling us that we are in an uncertain, unconfident market, specifically regarding the 10-year. Like, I've been watching the 10-year so close ever since we started to pump out in 2022. Like, as we were really kind of having those massive downward swings during, like, roughly it started in November, right? We had that, like, topping point in November on crypto, specifically, like, even Bitcoin. You could see exactly where we topped out back in November. It was, like, around our all-time high of, like, November 10th. Since then, the confidence in this market and individuals, like, really kind of jumping out has increased greatly. So, with me personally, when I look at the things happening around this market, I think everything is playing perfectly into a massive bull run. I wouldn't be FOMOing into any, positions, but I will say this: I will be a buyer of altcoins that are down significantly because it just makes sense to buy those that are, having maybe a bad day. Like, when we look at a lot of things happening right now in this market on the 24-hour spend, there's a lot of altcoins that are up significantly. But if you actually look at some altcoins that are down, you could buy some pretty good deals. But right now, everything is pumping because, of course, of this FOMC press conference. So I wouldn't be a buyer for altcoins right now. You had your time over the past couple days before this meeting, which, again, everyone was telling you, I wouldn't be buying before the meeting. I wouldn't be buying before the meeting. That's because when we talk about what is happening in this market, you do not want to listen to what everyone else is telling you. You have to have your own opinion on things. You have to be your own self when you want to buy something. Always do your own research. Always understand what you are putting your money into first, and do never like, when I look at this market and I look at things in, like, real life as well, like, I always say, be a leader. Do not be a follower. If you are a follower of just what everyone else is doing, you will not make it in this market, because people will tell you things so that you FOMO in, that you basically miss the boat. For me personally, I see a great year ahead for altcoins. I've said this multiple times on the chart. Like, we have been building massive support. We have been in a higher low situation since going back as far as, like, even February on the total 2. On Bitcoin, we've been in a higher low situation since going back as far as, like, January. So in my regards to, like, everyone saying that we're in a bear market, or, like, the market looks bearish, we have been building massive support for so long on not only, Bitcoin, but also on altcoins too. Like, as everyone is screaming, H-bar looks so bearish right now, H-bar looks so bad, we are on multi-year support levels. So to me personally, like, a lot of these altcoins are not bearish. Like, even XRP, right? So XRP is one that I've been addressing on the weekly, because on the weekly, we've been riding that 200-day EMA on massive support. And I've tried to share with you all the same exact picture, but a lot of people just don't want to see the truth. They want to believe that we are in a bear market. They want to believe that everything is, done. It's finished. It's over. But in my opinion, nothing is telling us that. So when I address, the bull run or the alt season, everyone thinks that these are just buzzwords to, have everyone kind of just watch the video. Oh, he's doing it for views. He's doing it for clicks. But ultimately, I'm just trying to express to you guys that we are not on any sort of bearish support levels. We are on multi-year support. We are riding the 200-day EMA that we have broken above since going back as far as January of 2021. So in my opinion, when we look at everything around crypto, specifically in regards to even the Fed, everything is printing a bullish pattern. The only thing right now that I have been addressing and watching for and saying looks bearish is the dollar. But once this does that 180, it's time to prepare, because I don't believe that people are really watching the factors that lead us to a bull run, because in my opinion, the dollar topping is probably one of the biggest indicators of a nearing bull run for risk on assets, specifically crypto and stocks. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video or this live stream. If you guys are in the live stream, welcome to the channel. If you guys are new here, definitely hit that like button, subscribe, and turn notifications on, as it does help the channel grow immensely, and I do always greatly appreciate that. But if you guys do want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all, have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.